Hi everybody, welcome back to our video series for our after school program. Again, my name is Cameron. I'm with the Private Industry Council. We are working through a series. This will be the third video in the series of just kind of career choices along with budgeting. Just some real world exercises that you guys will experience upon high school graduation. So the last video I talked about working through career clusters and choosing one. So today what I wanted to move into is I wanted to move into different budgets, budgeting for different occupations with taking some income and things of that nature and just kind of breaking it down into monthly expenses. So again, I'll be using a worksheet that you can find the URL to in the description of this video. So just go ahead and click that if you want to follow along with what I'm doing. Or you can kind of use what I'm working my way through here. As you'll see, I'll be filling in some numbers as we go along. So I picked a couple occupations. The first one we're going to work with is just a nurse or a registered nurse. The first thing that I looked into was the average income. Just kind of taking the average, just a good one to work with. Now, obviously, depending on what area you're a nurse in, like what area of, like what if it's like a rural community, an urban community, things like that. Your income might change, but the average one that I worked with here was $52,000 a year. It's a yearly income. So the worksheet that I'm working from is a monthly spending plan. So basically, I broke it down into each month. So that would be a $4,000 income per month. So that would go under your earned income. So that's what you have to work with for each month. Okay, so $4,000. Again, you'll have to excuse my handwriting. It's not the greatest, but we're just doing what we can to get through this and help you guys learn the best way possible. So now we work through our fixed expenses. Now, fixed expenses are expenses that don't change each month. They're pretty consistent. So that's why they're called fixed. They're fixed into to the same price. They're fixed into the same price each month. So you'll see there's 4 or 5 different categories on there. There's the car payment category. So I researched again an average car payment. An average car payment's looking probably around $300 or $350 a month. So I worked with the number $350. So we'll put $350 in there. And then car insurance. Car insurance is required for almost every vehicle in the United States to be road legal. So that's something that you definitely need. An average car insurance payment I figured it to be around $125. So we'll put that in here. $125. There we go. So obviously, if you're at an apartment, something of that nature, you'll need some cable or some entertainment. So what we'll need to put for that, I researched that. An average cable bill for a decent cable package is probably $120. Okay. So same for if you have an apartment for utility bills. So your utility bills will be like your electric bill, your water bill, things of that nature. So I figured that to be probably around $80 a month. Now, before I move into variable expenses, just wanted to stop and say if you're noticing that the numbers are rather high, well, again, these are average numbers, number one, so you can get a higher or a lower price. That's entirely up to you. There's a lot of different options out there for all these things, for car payments, for car insurance, cable and utilities. There's lots of different options to save money as well as our opportunity to maybe get a more inclusive package, but it might cost a little bit more. So again, these numbers do add up quickly, as you see, and we'll get to that in a second, the totals. So next we're going to move into variable expenses. These are the expenses that change every month depending on what you're doing. So like savings, you can put a different amount in there each month if you really want to. Gas, you might not get the same amount of gas this month that you got last month. But again, we're going to average all these together. Food, you might buy a different amount of food last month than you did this month. And then this group here, this entertainment group, You'll see there's a lot of different things that I threw in there. If you're looking at the worksheet, there's a lot of different categories that I threw in there. So I threw in like clothing, school supplies, activities, charitable giving. Those are like free time things. It's free money for you to kind of use what you want and enjoy yourself. Enjoy the money that you've earned. So let's get started here. So savings, 15%. It's recommended. It's a good number of 15% of your paycheck to put into savings every month. So 15% of the average income, which would be $300. Okay, so something that I do for myself with gas, obviously this is depending on a couple things. The price of gas per gallon, what kind of car you drive, and what kind of mileage you get. So there's a few things that depend on gas. But I average gas for this exercise out to $80 a month. So that's about two fill-ups of $40 per month. Okay, so for food for a month, I put about $100 in there. I just kind of figured one grocery trip of $100 should get a single person enough food. So we're gonna go with $100 there. And then, so again, the clothing, entertainment, that category. Again, I kind of grouped 4 or 5 ones into one category. I just called it the entertainment category. Just kind of things that you spend your money on that you feel is necessary for you, but not exactly necessary all the time. So for that, I put $400 just simply because there's so many different categories based in there. And for the purpose of this worksheet, that's the end of all these. So what I want to do now is we're going to work our way through our total expenses. So again, our total fixed expenses are the amount of money that we spend pretty much fixated on the same cost every month. So for fixed expenses, we had our car payment, $350, our car insurance payment, $125, our cable bill, which is around $120, and our utilities, which is around $80. So that totals about $675. Excuse me. Every other paycheck, which is $2,000 in total fixed expenses. So for variable expenses, of course, we just went over that one. We're going down through savings of $300, gas $80. Food, I kind of messed this one up, sorry. $100, which is down here, and then your entertainment category of $400 to get $880. So now what you gotta do, we're coming towards the end here of a budget. Total expenses, so we're gonna add, this is adding our fixed costs, our fixed expenses, and our variable expenses to get $1,555. I apologize if you can see that. I'm just kind of working with what I got here. So again, we're kind of just we're just rounding it all up. So profit or loss. So we're gonna obviously end up with some profit here. So we're finishing at plus $445. That's how much extra you have, even extra to use on a couple other things. So if you see profit in your monthly budget consistently, maybe you'll want to upgrade like your cable package or your or maybe your apartment or something like to that nature. So that's one occupation I wanted to work through. Now, obviously, everyone in the world does not make $52,000. Okay, so another occupation that I took that's sort of popular. I just wanted to kind of use it as an example that we'll just work through this one together. Is teacher, a school teacher. So I found out that the average school teacher makes probably around, let's say, $40,000 a year. So we'll cross this out and make this a 40. Okay. So the earned income is around $3,000 a month. So you have a little extra, little less to work with. 3,000, which means what I'm working on per paycheck, I'm working on bi-weekly paychecks. So 3,000. So if you're paid bi-weekly, that means you're paid 2 times a month. Okay. So we're gonna go 3,000 divided by 2 equals 1,500 per paycheck, which is what we'll be working with here. Okay. So what I had to do was I had to make some adjustments, obviously, because 1,500 can be a little different from 2,000. Sorry, I keep cutting out of the camera there. So the car payment, we'll keep that about the same because car payments are pretty consistently the same depending on, when you get out and start a career, it's usually ideal to start with a car. So I kept everything here pretty much the same, except usually cable you can kind of cut down if you need to. Cable's one of those things you can find a package that is suitable for your budget. So what I did there was I cut that down. I cut that down to $90. Okay. So I cut that down. So the next thing, obviously 15% of 1,500 is not 300. So we're going to have to change this number, okay? So we're going to change this number. This number then changes. If you take 15% of $1,500, you're going to get $225. So that's a $75 change. Okay, so for gas and food, we're going to keep that the same. Now what we're going to do here is whenever if you have a lower amount of money, obviously you know that you can't afford as many things. So with the entertainment part, this is where I found that this is where I figured to be the biggest cut down. So I cut that down to $150. I'm sorry, I cut it down $150 to $250. Okay? So, the way we did this, so we're just going to work through this again, okay? So, this was our nurse, and this over here is going to be our teacher. Now, as you'll see, a lot of the numbers are going to be pretty similar, okay? A lot of the numbers are going to be pretty similar. So just work through this with me here, okay? We're almost done. Total fixed expenses. So again, we kept the car payment the same, $350. We kept the car insurance the same, $125. Now we cut down the cable, so you'll see we use it as 120 here. We're going to use it as 90 here. And then for utilities, we've used utilities the same as well for 80. So if we add this up, we get a 5, we get a 24, okay, so you'll see 675, 645, so you have a $30 difference. Because the only thing we changed was the cable bill by $30. Now, on variable expenses is where we're going to see the most change, okay? So, again, we saw the 15% of 300 was different because we got a different starting number. So that's going to be 225. Okay, so 225. Gas we kept the same at 80. Food we kept the same at 100. And then for the 400 again, remember we cut that down. We cut that down by $150. So we're going to go down to 250. So 5, 15. 6. So here we have a little bit of a bigger difference. So we have a difference here of $225. So we got our $225 difference here, plus our $30 difference here, which overall equals a $255 difference So our total expenses fixed plus variable. All we're going to do here is we're going to take the 1,555 minus 255 to get a new total number of $1,300. So our income, again, the number we're working with here is $1,500 for a teacher, minus expenses. So we calculate our expenses again to $1,300. So we're going to do that. 1,300 equals 200. Okay. So that leaves you 200 extra in profit. That's every other week. So that's a total of $400 extra per month. So you can use that for a couple extra things, like for again, you could probably upgrade maybe like a cable package or a phone bill or something to that nature. So that's all I got for you today. Thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in with me. This is an exercise you can do. It'll also aid you in kind of exploring different careers, as well as you can look into different rates of things, like for example your car payments, car insurance, things of that nature. It'll help you in terms of identifying what career would help you be able to live comfortably and things like that. So so what we're going to do for the next video is I'm going to present a couple occupations and their actual incomes. So we'll work through some of those. Okay? Again, thanks for watching, guys. Stay safe. It looks like we're going to hope that the world gets back to somewhat of a semi-normal here pretty soon. Thanks, guys. Have a good day.